Hello P6, welcome to Monday's literacy activities. Today I would love you to go onto the Bug Club website and go and do some reading. Reading every day is something that's really important, so why don't you go and find somewhere quiet at some point today and go and do some Bug Club reading. If you're having any difficulties with getting logged into Bug Club, send your teacher an email and we will be very happy to help. Today's main activity is all to do with opposites, which, as we learnt last week, are sometimes called antonyms. Now, we've been looking at pairs of antonyms, so words such as wet and dry, natural and artificial, forget and remember. Pairs of opposites. I would love you to go and begin today's main activity by playing a game. Go and click on the link on our website, go and find the Furious Frogs game and see if you can be the person who can match the most pairs of antonyms before the time runs out. So go and play the Furious Frogs game. And then we're going to think about today's main bit of learning about antonyms. Now, last week's learning about antonyms, we were making pairs of words. Today we're going to do it a little bit differently. In front of each of these words, I am going to be putting three letters. Three letters that will change each of these words into the opposite of the word that I can see there. I'm looking for the opposite of honest, the opposite of trust, the opposite of agree, the opposite of appear. Well, let's pick one of them. Let's pick the word appear. If something appears, I can see it. What if it goes away again? Which three letters could I put in front of appear so that it now means it's not there anymore? It's gone. Yeah, it would be disappear, wouldn't it? So if in front of appear, I write the letters D-I-S, that changes appear into disappear. Now these three letters, D-I-S, they are now what I call a prefix. A prefix is when I add something to the beginning of a word and it changes its meaning. And we're looking at adding prefixes that are going to change the meaning so that it becomes the opposite. Now this dis prefix is what we're going to be thinking about today, because we're going to add dis to lots of different words today to make the opposite. So the opposite of agree, if I agree with you, I think, yes, you're telling me absolutely something that I believe in as well. But if I think, no, you're wrong, I might disagree with you. Honest and trust, well, they have a very similar meaning, don't they? That we believe in you, that we trust you, you're an honest person. But if I'm not so sure that I believe what you're telling me, well, I might distrust you. So distrust. I might say that you are a dishonest person. Dishonest. By adding this prefix dis to some words, we can change the meaning so that it becomes the opposite. Now, your written activity today, P6, is all about using the prefix dis. There are two levels to choose from today. If you choose to do the higher level activity, this is the higher level activity. Again, down the side, I've given you some examples of our dis words. So disappear, dislike, dishonest, discomfort. And then in part A, I've given you 16 words. And what I want you to do is write down those 16 words and then add dis in front of them to make the opposite. So if let's see, oh yes, if I don't believe you, I might say that I disbelieve you. The referee might disallow a goal. So write out the 16 words and put dis in front of them to turn those into the opposites. For part B, you've been given 5 sentences. Change the word in bold so that it becomes the opposite by adding dis. And then in part C, can you work out which of the words that you had at the top of the page that you can add in down here so that each of these sentences makes sense using your dis words. You might choose to do that one, or you might choose to do the lower level activity. If you choose to do this one, then again, you've got some examples at the side. You've got 8 to do in part A, so you've got 8 words. Can you put each of those, put dis in front of each of those so that they become the opposite, they become an antonym. In part B, you've got 6 sentences to write out. At the end of each sentence, I've given you a word. Put dis in front of that so that it now has the opposite meaning. And at the bottom of the page, if you've chosen this page, I want you to find for me, write me out a sentence using the word disagree and the word dishonest. So can you make up a sentence of your own using those words? Now, if you get all that done, there are other prefixes out there apart from the letters dis. I wonder if you could work out for me what the prefixes are that would go in front of each of these words. If something is visible, I can see it. But if I can't see it, what's the new word? What could you put in front of visible? What could you put in front of happy? What could you put in front of possible? What could you put in front of sense? And what could you put in front of behave? If somebody's not behaving themselves, they are. Well, can you work out which prefix might go in front of each of these words? It's not dis. Finally, today, P6, for your literacy activities, once you've completed all of those things, then why don't you log back into Education City and have a look at Play Live Words. Absolutely fantastic scores last week, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievably good. The top 3, I think, were Jadal, Ivan and Adam. Oh my goodness, wonderful scores. The girls were just behind. We had amazing scores from boys and girls from all 3 classes, which was fantastic to see. The scores have now reset, now that we're at the beginning of a new week. So could you see today if you can get yourself onto that top 10 leaderboard for Brooklands, and then try and keep that place as the week goes on. Amazing scores last week. Keep up the good work, P6.